Okay, let's see if you can hear me now. This is lesson 1, 2, words and expressions. So make sure you get this in your notebook, in your table of contents, and then your next page. Make sure that you also have a few questions ready to go at the end of this lesson so we can talk about it tomorrow. All right, so I have 2 vocabulary to start for you, and the first one is expression. This is a mathematical phrase that can be made up of variables or numbers and operations. So variables would be, your letters that you're used to, and your numbers and your operations. Operations meaning multiply, divide, adding, and subtracting. And if you look below, there's a few examples there for you. 4 plus 3 times 5 and b times 9 are both expressions. If you look at the times sign, you got to remember a lot of times we don't use that times sign because it looks like a variable. So let's just go over again what you could use for multiplication. You can use the dot. A lot of times you see parentheses now. You can still use this. Kind of stay away from that multiplication sign just because it looks like that. But those are pretty much the main multiplication symbols that you are going to see from now on. The last thing that I have a lot of people ask me is what the word evaluate means, and it means to solve. It means to solve it till the end, actually find an answer. So when you see the word evaluate, it means to solve until the end. Okay, so the next thing we have to talk about is the order of operations. And this is really, really important when you start solving equations, because if you don't follow this operation, it'll get you the incorrect answer. I use, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally, meaning that each letter in the phrase begins like a certain thing you need to do first. So P be your parentheses, that's what you do first. Your E would be your exponents. Luckily for you, exponents is kind of its own beast, and we use exponents, it's got pretty much its own chapter. So we're not going to worry about exponents today. And then we get to multiplying and dividing from left to right. This is another thing that really confuses people, is that multiplying and dividing from left to right, it's just as you read. One is not better than the other. Just because M comes first doesn't mean that's what's done first. If dividing is first from left to right, that's what you do first, and then you would go ahead and do the next whatever it is from left to right. So just because it's M first and then D does not mean that's how it goes. And the same thing goes for addition and subtraction. Those are just the least important things you do. It doesn't mean you do addition first and then subtraction. It's again from left to right, just as you read. These are really important because this can get kids screwed up. What we're going to do is we're going to practice this a little bit. And we'll start with this first one here. Okay, it's 5, parentheses, 5 plus 9, end of parentheses. And if we go back to, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally, we're going to figure out what we have to do first. So P, I parentheses in there, that's the first thing I'm going to do. And I'm going to ask you to do everything in steps. Show me your steps. I want to see what you're doing first, next, last. Show me your steps. So you might have some problems that take up a few lines in your notebook. Big whoop. I want to see your steps. And this can help me figure out, like, if you're doing something wrong. If you just put an answer, it's not going to work out very well. So I want to see everything in steps. So I'm going to show you what I mean by that in the next few problems here. So if I look, my parentheses on this one are first. 5 plus 9, 14. And then I'm going to bring my parentheses down and bring what I have left over. And I have 5 times 14. Well, let's just, go over again how to do this stuff. 70 would be the answer for that problem. Okay, then I'm going to move to the next one. I have 4 plus 5 times 5. I have nothing in parentheses there, but according to, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally, I'd have to use my multiplication first. That's, I have addition and multiplication in there, and multiplication is the most important. So we're going to do this first, 25, and then we're going to bring down everything else that we did not use yet, and now I have, 4 plus 25, what I have left over, and I have 29. The next one over here is a little more complex. It's got a few more steps to it. If you can't tell, I can see multiplication, I see addition, I see subtraction, I see multiplication in a few different ways. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to look at the parentheses, because according to, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally, that's what I'm going to do first. And then I'm going to bring everything down that I did not use. Notice how I keep that 10 in parentheses, and I do that because there's no sign in between that 2 and that 10 then, and if I put those parentheses there, it's going to mean multiplication. So looking here, I have multiplication, I have subtraction, I have multiplication. I'm going to go from left to right and do what I can do next. So multiplication, I'm just going to do, so 10 times 2 would be 20. I'm going to bring my subtraction sign down, and then I'm going to figure this out because my multiplication comes next. Now, 15, or 20 minus 15, and I get 5. So using your steps, you know, if you didn't use your steps and you'd minus 3 first and then times by 5 there, you would come up with a completely different answer. Okay, this is the only time, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally, does not work. And the reason is, okay, so let's think about it. We have parentheses, we have exponents, we have multiplication, division, addition, subtraction. This was from left to right. This is from left to right. Okay, but if I look at this, what does that line mean? Do you guys remember what that line means? I hope you said division, because those types of lines are division. You know, division can be, you know, shown a few different ways too, and the line is one way, and then the division sign like this is another. The only reason this doesn't work for please excuse my dear Aunt Sally is because, you know, if you had to do division first, you couldn't divide it. And the reason why you couldn't do that is you don't have a true number on the top and the bottom. So we have to put that true number on that top and the bottom. So this is you have to do, in this case, your addition and subtraction first. So 53 plus 15 would be like 68. And then 17 minus 13 would be 4. And then you would just do your division here. Now, think about it. If you had to put this in the house, what are you going to put first? Your top number always goes in the house. Your bottom number goes on the outside. Now you can do your simple division. 4 goes into 6 once. I get 28 to bring down my 8. 4 goes into 28 7 times. So 17 would be my answer there. One thing that's maybe a little new this year, I think we talked about this a little in 7th grade last year, but you're going to see it more this year, is the brackets. So brackets, basically everything in the brackets, it's kind of like a force field. Everything in the brackets has to be done first. Everything inside that force field has to be done first. So we're going to worry about the 4 later. This is going to be at the last thing we do. So I'm going to look in here. What can I do first? I have parentheses, I have multiplication. So 15 minus 9 would be 6. And then I'm going to put my bracket out here. And I'm going to bring everything down that I didn't use. Okay. All right. So now I have my multiplication there. 16 plus 6, all in brackets. 16 plus 6, let's see, would be 22. This is what it looks like. That 4 just keeps coming down. The 4 is the last thing that is done. Then even though it's not a parentheses, a bracket can still act as a parentheses, especially if there's no sign in there. So the next thing you would do, just 4 times 22 would be 88. So brackets are probably, you know, one of the most, the newer things that you probably have seen. I'm going to actually give you one to try yourself in your notebook, if you would do that. Let's see here. Let me find one. All right here. Try this one. Oops. I'm going to add in a page. Try this one for me. Okay, so I want you to look in that bracket first, figure out what you need to do. I'm going to go ahead and pause me, work yourself, and then go ahead and start back up again. Okay, for this would be 24, bracket, divided by, I'm going to do this next. Let's see, this would be 6, bracket, this is what it would look like. I'm doing my brackets first. 24 divided by 6 would be 4. Bracket. Notice how my 7 keeps falling down. And I get a 28 there. Another one, if you want to try this one yourself, this would be a good idea too to try by yourself. If you want to try this one by yourself. Okay, if you're going to try it by yourself, this is how it would look. Okay, I did this first. All right, now the next thing, I'm going to have to do this and this. So I have 50 minus 49 And you should get 1 as an answer. Okay. All right, the next thing, what I want you to do right now is I want you to write these in your notebook: addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. And I want you to come up with 2 words that mean each one. So you should have 2 words here, you should have 2 words here, 2 words here, 2 words here. Come up with 2 words, at least 2 words that mean addition, at least 2 that mean subtraction, at least 2 that mean multiplication, at least 2 that mean division. And we'll compile a list tomorrow so we can find some of these keywords. Keywords is going to be important for the next 2 days, so make sure we have a good list there. So I want you to stop, come up with 2 for each one, and we'll talk about them tomorrow. The next thing they're going to have you do is they're going to give you a sentence, and you have to write the expression. Now, for your homework today, I don't believe you have to solve the expressions or evaluate, but you have to write them. So this is where you got to think of your keywords. If I look at this first one right here, it says 5 multiplied by 3. So what's the keyword of 5 multiplied by 3? Yeah, no, it's not for you. It's not for you. Five multiplied by 3. So we're going to look for the keyword. The keyword would be multiplied. And then 5 multiplied by 3. That's all it's asking you to do, is just to write it out in a math sentence in an expression. The next one is the number of apples you have if you start with 10 and eat 2. Well, think, if you have 10 apples and you eat 2, what would that expression look like? Well, if you have 10 and you eat 2, what really happens to that 10? 2 go away. That's what your expression looks like. The next expression that you need to write is the total length of songs. If there are 3 songs and each is 4 minutes long. So if there are 3 songs on your Spotify and each is 4 minutes long, how could you figure out the total of the songs? You take 3 times 4. That's all they want from you. That's all they want from you. Okay, so we have a few other story problems. It says a pencil costs $1 and a notebook costs $2. Write an expression for the total cost when you buy 8 pencils and 13 notebooks. If you wanted to find the total cost of buying all these pencils and notebooks, how would it look? Well, if I know that each pencil is $1 and each notebook costs $2, if I add that together, that should give me the total cost. And you know, it doesn't matter what number you have in the parentheses. You could put the 8 in the parentheses or the 13. You could switch these around. I just tend to put the money in the parentheses, so it doesn't matter. So 8 plus 26. 8 plus 26 would be $34. It would cost for those pencils and notebooks. I want you to try one yourself. An adult ticket to the movies is $9. A student ticket is $7. Write an expression for the total cost if 6 adults and 9 students are going to the movies. Pause me now and write an expression. Okay, so the expression should look something like this. 6 adults times 9, because it's $9, plus 9 students. Students, there are $7 per student. It should look something like this. These can be interchanged. So this would be, let's see, 9 times 6 is 54 plus 63 should be $117. I believe. Hopefully that's correct. $117. Okay, this next one is also in your homework. A lot of people get these confused. It says a photographer charges $20 for a sitting fee. A lot of times when you go to a photographer, they just charge a flat fee for coming for them to take your picture. For each print you order, it costs $5. Write an expression to find the total cost if you buy 6 prints. Now, a lot of people think that they have to multiply everything by something. You don't have to multiply things by something. So first of all, let's start with the expression. $20 is the flat fee. You have to pay $20. But then if you have 6 prints and each of them are $5, well, you would take 6 times 5. So it's going to cost you just $30 in prints, and then that $20 for that sitting fee. A lot of people think it costs $20 then for every single print. That's not true. A lot of times when they say like a flat fee or fee, it's only paid one time. So for this would be just $50. So don't think that everything has to be multiplied by something in your your problem. So good luck. I hope you have some good examples. Come with a few questions. We'll go over a few examples. Mark maybe some examples you want me to go over again. I'd be more than happy to do that for you. And I'll see you tomorrow.